Well, clearly it's been disappointing. I mean, it's with all the expectations and obviously backing up last year, you know, you go and you sign Pete Alonso and you get Taylor Ward. Eflin comes back healthy at the time, and it looked like it was going to be, I mean, most projection had the Orioles in the playoffs or maybe even towards the top of the AL East, and for whatever reason, it just hadn't happened. It's been some struggles. I think, again, it's been a combination of a lot of injuries that have hurt. Jordan Westburg, I've always said this, Jordan Westburg to me has always been the glue of this team. He is just that kind of player. Obviously, he came to spring training healthy. It was an oblique issue at first, and finally he has to have Tommy John surgery. He'll be back next year. He'll be healthy. He'll be ready to go. Obviously, Jackson Holiday came to spring training healthy. Hamate bone issue with him. He missed a lot of time before coming back. Eflin looked great in spring training. He gets hurt, has to have Tommy John surgery for him. Obviously, Bassett's had an injury. He's been out for a while. And quite frankly, some of the regular guys that we thought might take a step forward have not this year for whatever reason. And the left-handed starting pitchers on the opposing teams are still giving the Orioles some trouble, which is a little bit odd because that's why you went and got Alonso. That's why you went and got Taylor Ward. The good news is some guys have had really good years. I mean, the guy throwing tonight, Brandon Young, I mean, I don't know where the Orioles would be without Brandon Young right now. He's been really good. Blaze Alexander came over as a utility player. He's been an everyday player. He's already played more in his career this year than he has in his entire career in any single season. He's been outstanding as well. So there's been some good stories along the way, but you know, I'm still holding on to hope. As wild as the American League has been this year, the Orioles are still just 4 games out of the final wild card spot. Now, yeah, you still got to jump over 6 or 7 teams to get there, and that's going to be the tricky part for Mike Elias trying to decide what he's going to do toward the trade deadline. But it feels like this series going into the All-Star break is so important for the Orioles. It's a minimum of win 2 to me, and you really need to sweep. And if you do that, then maybe you're 2 games out of the final wild card spot at the All-Star break, and there's a real shot down the stretch.
What is going on with Gunnar this season?
That's a great question. Personally, in my opinion, he had 6 home runs by April the 13th. And in the back of my mind, I think he thought that he was going to hit 60 of them this year. And he got in pull mode. And if you look at the numbers on the year, Gunnar's pulled the ball more this year than he ever has. That's not his game. Gunnar's really good. In his best year in 24, he was using the backside of the field, taking balls on the outer part of the plate and hitting rockets out toward left center field. I know that's where he's trying to get back to getting there. It's just the work he has done has not paid off. Now, I'm very encouraged in the last week the way he has swung it. I mean, this past series, he swung it really well and hit the ball really hard. And I know people talk about me talking about, well, you hit it hard, you're out. If you hit it to somebody, you're still out. He's still out at the end of the day. But I do like the fact that he's finding the barrel a little bit more and he's using the center part of the field because I felt like he got really pull happy there for a while. And he was rolling over a lot of off-speed pitches. I see an effort now to try to get the ball back up the middle because Gunnar's one of those special guys like Basayo is where, you know, and Pete Alonso is, he can leave the ballpark in any part of the field. He doesn't have to pull the ball in the air to hit a home run. He can leave in center field. He can leave in left center field too. And so he's working hard. I can tell he's frustrated. I always say this about Gunnar because I know him pretty good. The care factor with Gunnar is very high. And I think sometimes he puts a little bit too much pressure on himself because he wants it so bad. And I told the story the other day, Mike Flanagan used to always tell me when I was 22 years old, try easier, Ben. And I went, funny, I don't know what try easier means. Like when I get in trouble, I'm trying harder. He said, that's your problem. He said, you're very talented, and the only way your talent comes out is when you are able to relax and go perform like you're capable. And I told Gunnar that story the other day. I said, Gunnar, you care a lot, buddy, and I get that, and I love that about you. You really care about this team, this organization, and your performance, but I want you to try easier. And he said the same thing. He said, I don't know what that means. And I said, well, this is the story. I said, you're talented. Just let it happen. Let it happen. But it's hard for an athlete because we get primed up and we want to go, go, go. And when we don't have success, it's hard for us to relax, especially when you have the expectations that Gunnar has. So I feel for him because I had those expectations many years ago and I kind of know what he's going through in some ways. And when you try to live up to expectations, that's a hard thing to go through. And Gunnar's kind of going through it right now. But I know a lot of people in Birdland are upset with him and they want to give up on him. But I still think he's a franchise player. I really, in my heart of hearts, I think he's going to have an unbelievable career. I just hope that whole career is here in Baltimore.
Well, another guy that they brought in to, in some ways, ease the pressure off of Gunnar a little bit was Pete Alonso. Yeah. Have you seen what you needed to see from him?
Yes. Obviously, it was a slow start for Pete. We all know that. But Pete, the numbers are going to be there again. And Pete has averaged coming into this year 38 homers and like 111 RBIs every year, and he's on pace to do both of those things. Do we wish he would hit left-handed pitching a little bit better? Yeah, he's hitting only a little over 200 against left-handed pitching, but he's wearing out right-handed pitching. He's been, to me, better than advertised over at first base defensively. Like, I think he's having a Gold Glove caliber year over at first base. Like, we always heard he could pick the ball out of the dirt. He has done that, but I think he's made some really good plays too. So I think Pete has been Pete. I think Pete has been wonderful. There's no doubt about that.
All right, the big one. Is Adley Rutschman going to be an Oriole after this break?
Great question. I think he is. After the break, I would say yes. I'm hoping that Adley gets an extension in the near future and he's going to be an Oriole for a long time. I'm not in Mike Elias's head, so I don't know. There's been a lot of rumbling, and sometimes, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes too. And so I can't answer that, but it doesn't feel like this year and now is the time, if you're going to potentially do that, to do it. I think you ride it out with Adley. I think you see what happens next year or maybe this offseason. But I hope Adley stays here because I think we got one of the best 1-2 punches in the game when you talk about Basayo and Adley Rutschman. And with Rutschman on this team, you can go back and look at the numbers ever since he came up. He makes a difference to this lineup. He makes a difference to this pitching staff, the way he calls pitches, the way he works with pitches. I'm hoping he's an Oriole for the rest of his career.
If you're a GM right now, like you said, okay, they're four games back out of the wild card. Are you buyers or sellers if you're the Orioles?
If we were to trade deadline 4 games out with 6 teams to jump over right now, I would be sellers. I would be sellers. And Mike Elias said so the other day. He said he wants to be buyers, but he also said, I got to do what's best for this organization. And if you don't feel like you can get there, then you can't. If you're not going to extend Trevor Rogers, and you're not going to sign Taylor Ward back, you got to get something for him. Like, you got to get so. I can't let those guys walk because Trevor Rogers, if he continues to throw the ball like he's throwing it his last 7 starts and he gets into the season, there's going to be a lot of people wanting his services. And maybe it's a situation where you trade Trevor Rogers and then you go back and get him in the offseason in free agency because you get some pieces for him. We saw the Tigers do that with Jack Flaherty a few years ago. And so now the danger with that is you put him on the free agent market and all of a sudden you may have to overpay him to get him back. I would love to see the Orioles re-up him right now and keep Trevor Rogers in Baltimore. But again, those are decisions for the front office to make. But to answer your question, if we get down to the trade deadline and the Orioles are 4 or 5 games out of it and you got to jump over 6 teams, as much as I hate to say this, I think the Orioles are going to be buyers, or sellers rather. They're going to have to sell.
Well, Ben, you always bring the elite analysis, which is why they took you from the field and put you in this booth. How fun has it been in this part of your career to do what you're doing now?
I'm very fortunate. I mean, honestly, you probably won't believe this, but when I was a player, I hated to talk to the media. I didn't want anything to do with the media. I was not comfortable in front of the camera. I was not comfortable in front of the lights, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And it was Rick Sutcliffe that grabbed me and said, listen, good game or bad game, you're going to stand your butt up in front of the media and you're going to answer all the questions honestly. So he's the one that kind of got me going to it. Then I kind of started to enjoy the back and forth with the media in some ways. I never thought I would have 2 different careers, one in playing and one in broadcasting. I never set out to do that. It was my college coach, Skip Bertman, when I retired at 30 years old. And he said, what are you going to do now? And I was like, Coach, I don't know. I'm coaching my kids. I'm loving that. And he goes, you know what you'd be good at? And I said, what's that, Coach? He said, I think you'd be great in the booth. I said, Coach, I don't know anything about broadcast. I know nothing. He said, doesn't matter. He said, you know the game of baseball. You got a great personality. People can relate to you. I'm making a phone call. So at the time, way before there was the SEC network and college baseball got big, Cox Sports Television in Baton Rouge had 12 LSU games on every year. So he calls over at Cox Sports Television. They call me a week later and says, hey, you're going to be our analyst starting next year. And that was 25 years ago. And so it's just kind of grown. And I'll be honest, I was a fish out of water. I had no idea. I didn't even keep score. I mean, look at my scorecard now. I mean, it's like it's like the rainbow. It's Roy G. Biv right now, you know. And so I've gone from not even having a scorecard to writing down all kind of little things that I don't. As you know, I own an iPad. I don't even own a computer. I've never had a computer in my life. If you look over at Kevin Brown's stuff, he's got 7 computers and 3 iPads over there. And so I like all my stuff written down. I'm old school. Takes me a little bit longer, but I like all my stuff in front of me. So I enjoy this. You know, it's as you know, you're in the business. It's a tough job. Being gone from home, I've missed a lot over the years to try to get to a certain point that I wanted to. So I've made some sacrifices, and I wish I could get those days back, but I won't. I miss some time with my kids, but I had to do these kind of things to kind of show people that I was serious about doing this. And so I've learned a lot over the years, and I'm happy where I'm at right now. I love working for the Orioles, and I always tell people my favorite time in 24 hours or 3 hours, they say play baseball. Now when they say play ball, I'm all in. That's my favorite 3 hours of the day.
When you look over your career so far, is there a moment in a game or something that stands out to you where you felt it here in the booth?
Yeah, I mean, going back to I don't know if it's one game, but just going back to the Orioles run, going through that rebuild, going through COVID when there was nobody here, those were some tough times. Going through the rebuild, losing 100 games every year, those were tough times to go through. And then we kind of saw the light at the end of the tunnel in 22, and then, of course, the 23 season was unbelievable. That was just such a special season for the Orioles and for us to be a part of that. So I don't know if it's one thing. I think it's just the growth, and you know how it is. We're invested. I'm invested, and everybody says, oh, you're getting paid to do that. But yeah, it's way more fun when you're with a winning team and they're winning. It makes our job so much easier when the Orioles are winning. When they're losing, then me and Kevin got to kind of try to entertain in some ways, which we try to entertain from time to time too. But I love it when the Orioles are playing well. I grew up, I was 21 years old when I came here, and the fans took a liking to me many years ago, and I still have that relationship with the fans here in Baltimore.
Well, the entertainment goes beyond the booth now. You are all over social media.
Yeah.
There's so many people around town that say, oh my gosh, I saw you scaring Jeff Arnold or the bag races or whatever it is, and you're so interactive with fans. That's cool for you,
It's
right?
my personality. As you know, I like to cut up. I like to have a good time. And I remember telling the Orioles and ESPN worker, I said, listen, I'll do this, but I got to be me. I want to have fun. And my dad told me a long time ago, he said, son, always be yourself because everyone else is taken. And so I like to cut up a little bit. I like to have fun. Baseball is a kid's game. It's a fun game to play. It's a fun game to talk about. And I've always thought of it being entertaining. And I want to be entertaining. I want to bring a lot of energy. And I want to be educational sometimes too, because I want to draw people into, and I always think of broadcasting as the 3 E's. You know, those are the 3 E's of broadcasting. And my aha moment was my second year of broadcasting. I was in the Walmart in my hometown in the off season, and the older lady came up to me and she went, you're so-and-so. I said, yes, ma'am, I am. She said, you call the LSU baseball games? I said, yes, ma'am, I do. She said, I like what you do. I said, tell me what you like about I do. I said, because today I'm still trying to figure it out, but I was really trying to figure it out then. She's like, I know nothing about the game of baseball, but when you talk about the game of baseball, you explain it in a way that I understand it. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head. I was like, you know what? That's the person I'm going for. I may bore the person that knows a lot about the game, but I just want to keep the game simple because it is a simple game. You catch it, you throw it, and you hit the ball. If you can do that as a team, you've got a good team. If you can do it individually, you're a good ball player. And when she told me that, I said, that's the person that I want to draw in to the wonderful game of baseball, the people that are just watching it for the first time, that are new to it. So that's always been the prime audience I've always gone for, is the newbies that are out there.
With a little bit of Cajun seasoning.
With a little bit of spice to it, that's right.